Welcome to the world of ability. My name is Sue Roscoff, and we are here today with some wonderful, wonderful friends of the show. I am so excited to have a couple of great people joining us right now, and I am first of all going to go ahead and bring in a name and a face that you all know and love. We do have the amazing Marianne of Waikiki joining us today, and Marianne, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on in. And if you can say hi and remind everybody who you are, what you do, and then you can go ahead and introduce the lovely friend that you've brought to join us today as well. So glad you guys are here.
Well,
Glad to be
aloha.
here.
Aloha, Sue Roscoff and Kurt Roscoff and Emily G. This is the World of Ability podcast every Saturday. We thank you so much because you guys have continued to do this for the last 4 years when I met you. And well, how did we meet? Well, we met during the pandemic. And I was introduced to Happy Neighborhood Projects in Hawaii, the island of Oahu, Waikiki. And I became a co host, and you opened up a chapter or a city, a disability, world of ability, and I volunteered my services to do the sign language. And through that time, I received some pandemic unemployment assistance that I used to federally trademark the Acts of Kindness series through a host in Miami, who is now my intellectual property attorney, Dr. Liddy Orzoco Luis. She got married. And the journey began. So a lot of editing with our team of Fiverr Graphics in Pakistan. So I was up in the middle of the night in Hawaii, in Pakistan. Then I'd roll over and follow your husband, Kurt Roscoff, another host, going into all these happy neighbor projects, cities in the United States, Canada, India, Australia. I mean, we met so many amazing people through Edwin Edinburgh, through the Happy Neighborhood projects. And so here we are today and still continuing networking. And I'm very excited to say that the Acts of Kindness series, now we have completed the fourth book for climate change for Leon McLaughlin, Clean Water Foundation, who I met in Hawaii. He does amazing work. He is in Seattle, Washington. He brings clean water units worldwide, focusing on the Hopi Navajo, where they just delivered, I think, like 2,000 water units plus. And he'll be joining us a little bit later. He joins us usually the latter part of the show every week. We got good stuff happening because we have World Water Day that's happening. And I want to share a story which will lead into our guest, Julene, that I met on the Unicorn Universe yesterday. So, Julene, I was introduced to Awesome Foundation Grant through my writer, Suzanne Sims. And she helped me co-write the books. Now, Suzanne wrote a movie called, or I'm sorry, a play called Thrift Store the Musical. And her first husband was the late Colonel James Shannon, who influenced the movie Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney. And they came up with this New Earth Army concept. Well, Suzanne allowed us to roll that over into our first book called Underwater Acts of Kindness for Ocean Cleanup, featuring Noah, the hard of hearing whale. And he comes down on a Hawaiian vacation, and we have a glow in the dark party, a greeting party, the aloha spirit. And he gets injured in a boating accident and loses his hearing. And what kind of life is he going to have? He's going to be a new dad, and he has to get rehabilitated at the shipping clinic, and he sees all the sick fish, and they're unhappy because why? They want to be back in their school, just like children want to be back in their school, but they're overcoming the plastics and the pollution, the illness that's happening into our ocean. So he is rehabilitated by Dr. Fingers, the finger spelling hermit crab, and an angelfish called Angelina Joyful Lay. How cool is that? Now, I know you're going to laugh because Julian was a sign language interpreter, and we'll let her share the story. So, Noah then is recruited by a sea turtle called the General of the New Earth Army, who happens to be a physical therapist. And all these marine sea creatures tackle the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It gets overwhelming. We learn statistics about Captain Moore, Captain Moore Institute, the Moore Institute, the Algelita Foundation, where he sailed in 1997 across the Pacific Ocean in every 2 years the Trans Pacific sailboat races, and he recognized the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Well, I had the honor to live on a sailboat in Honolulu, Hawaii, and be a sign language interpreter at the Unity Church of Hawaii. And I wanted to know why all this garbage was floating around my sailboat. So every time I would go to the Unity Church of Hawaii, I'd wear a fancy hat, Julene. And my deaf friend Scott, who lost his hearing at age 7, spoke very well with great speech therapy with his mother. And I would wear a fancy hat. And that's how I got my sign language name, Marianne of Waikiki. Because why? He knew where his sign language interpreter was. He knew where to find me because of my fancy hat on the sailboat. Not only that, he went sailing with us. And how did we get to do a lot of this stuff? Because our sail instructor was a chiropractor and his wife was an acupuncturist. So we talked a lot of healing modalities. I also got my Reiki masters with him. And what a great opportunity. So I would be thinking that Sunday, oh my gosh, what kind of message are we going to get at the Unity Church of Hawaii? And I would go down there in my fancy hat, and he would be behind, we'd sit in the back of the church, and Suzanne sat over on the left. And Lucy Lynch came in and sang with this angelic voice. So I would be signing. And I would be thinking, okay, what's this next chapter? How are we going to kind of write this book? And all of a sudden, Reverend Bomar says, rising above sea level. And I look over at Suzanne and I sign to Scott. I go, that's the name of the next chapter in the book. So the universe was giving me all these guided messages of who, what, when, why, how. And through guided meditation, I asked what my next purpose was because I was injured. And the universe said, you're writing a series of children's sign language books with puppets. And I laughed. I said, really? Okay, who, what, when, how? Well, we walked down to the Ala Moana Mall, and guess what? Folk Manus had a tree of all these amazing puppets. Not only they had a chicken that I could put my hands and actually sign with, they had a glove puppet with a bee on top of it, so I could show finger spelling. And they have the cutest things in the world. And so the creativity started, and Suzanne said, "Yeah, I'll write this with you because I'm passionate about what's happening around our world, around the islands." She got to go dolphin swimming with us. I signed at Sea Life Park. We got to do a lot of fun aquatic things there on the island of Oahu, as well as promoting, let's clean up the oceans. Let's look around on the ground and find 10 pieces of plastic. And at McDonald's, at the bus stop. And we want to share and multiply that acts of kindness. So I went on a sailing book signing tour. I met a retired Navy diver over there that cleaned up the explosives that took me around to the different parts of the islands as he worked. And he bought a sailboat in Florida. So not only that, I got to sail 91 days, 1,700 nautical miles from Southwest Florida to Virginia. I book signed at Key West Aquarium and Marathon Aquarium with my first book. Yeah, wow. I get back to Hawaii, and my girlfriend, a special education teacher, she's now retired, Marilyn Rogers at Kamali Charter School, said, Marianne, there's Donors Choose. I can request your books. And guess what she did? We met at Starbucks, and it took about a half hour to request my first book, Underwater Acts of Kindness, for ocean cleanup. The book was put on the social emotional learning curriculum, Hawaii Department of Education, by an angel teacher I met at Maui at the Unity Church of Hawaii. Within a week, my book was uploaded. I was amazed what she did. And Marilyn requested 50 books. Within 2 weeks, she was funded. Amazon shipped out the books, and I went out and visited the classroom. I'm walking on campus. I hear, where's Dr. Fingers? Where's Dr. Fingers? And well, we brought the puppets in, did a slideshow. The principal was there, the other special education there. We were the talk of the town. We were like the sophisticated hula, is what they say in Hawaii. And we talked about ocean cleanup. Wow. So then I'm back at Unity Church of Hawaii, and Lucy and the Perfect Wave come out with another album. And I go, I got the idea. Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully. A lot of the songs are about abundance and forgiveness. Well, we have featured a frog named Rippet and a female French bulldog named Felicia, who bully Harry the hard of hearing rabbit at his school with his classmates. And he gets kicked off the rock and lands on Rabbit Island. And he meets an enchanted tree, and he meets a skunk, and he has a grief relief. And while he's sleeping, he learns to stand in his power. not only meets other courageous, he meets Chelsea, the courageous sign language chicken. And she has a sister at the special school too. And Eve, the finger spelling bumblebee. And so they have to collectively come together to build a sailboat, a raft, and sail back to Magic Island. So there they are. They meet the bullies, and we find out what? The bullies didn't know sign language and they felt left out. So they have this magical parade in lots of parades in Honolulu. And then we have a first birthday luau party for who? Dino Spamaramo, the dean of the school's daughter, baby Sizzle. And first birthday luau's are celebrated big time in Hawaii. So not only that, we have a rainbow parade, we have a rainbow luau, we have rainbows on the books. Somewhere over the rainbows, dreams really did come true because you know why? I got to go into the studio during the pandemic of Manoa Valley and record my first book, Underwater Acts of Kindness, with Pierre Grill. And he linked the soundtrack to Lucy and the Perfect Wave. So everybody can go on Amazon and listen to it. And then it led to the third book for Pono the Hawaiian Polo Pony. Now, when my Navy man was working, we stayed at the Equus Hotel, which is right across the marina. And we got free tickets to go to the Equus Polo Club. And I created a book there because Auntie Renee was a manager at the Equus and she's so nice and kind. She's actually on our website, and that website is www.actsofkindnessseries.com. So Auntie Renee is featured in that book. Not only that, in Rabbit Acts of Kindness, which will be available for Easter, and it starts out on May Day Lay Day, which is a big Hawaiian day in Hawaii. May Day Lay Day. And so the series was completed, and we had to sit down and lock down in Hawaii. And I used that money to creatively uh, organize the books, get them in flow, work with Suzanne, work with Pakistan. I created 10 Apple app games. I created t-shirt designs. I created them on boxes of cereal, in diapers. And Dr. Liddy, my intellectual property attorney, has that, and she federally trademarked and copyrighted it for me. So I'm so grateful that the universe provided all these amazing, talented people to let this vision and mission be brought to light to the world. And why? Because we have a 500 million people worldwide now with a hearing loss. We have millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service who can't hear their own children or grandchildren. Now, I had an opportunity to visit the Army uh, Hospital, Tripler Army Medical Hospital, where I met with the chief of audiology. She is also a graduate of Central Michigan University, where I graduated from. And I gave her the drafts of the books, and she cried. And so we were trying to get a grant for the military parents coming home. Now, they already had hearing, but they lost their hearing due to warfare. And we are seeing more warfare affecting hearing loss and cochlear implants, but really they want their hearing back. And in the deaf community, they're born deaf. They have deaf pride, and they know there's an option to have a cochlear implant and there's total communication. So we want to give this Acts of Kindness series a message to everybody so that they can learn the basic finger spelling alphabet, the 26 letters of the alphabet. And Trevor Gibbs from the American Disabilities Act, who evaluates websites, helped me upload 4 of the videos of the characters doing the ASL finger spelling alphabet. So from thought to action, it's happening, and it's live, and it's now in the new book trailer. And Trevor Gibbs evaluates websites. And 30 some years ago, I was a case manager with the deaf at an agency called Transitions Community Support Programs, where I had a caseload with another case manager and a sign language interpreter. We worked in mental health. We assisted them with housing, AFC homes, that's adult foster care. We helped them going to Social Security to apply for their benefits, their food stamps. I would have to go purchase their bus tickets. I'd have to interact with their parents. We had a psychiatrist on board. We had to go to the pharmacy and medical. And most of them worked at Goodwill, and they had performance evaluations every quarter and got raises. And we did that for about 4 years. So, funding does come and go. People do come and go and need a change in careers. And that's what I did. And I went into sales and medical sales too, and did well. And I got injured. And I was sitting in a hotel lobby, and the manager drove her SUV through the hotel wall behind me. So I acquired a hearing loss, broken ankle. I had vertigo, which is spinning. The room will spin. I turn my head, the whole room spins. Vomiting and tinnitus ringing in the ears, and that comes and goes. And that can be affected by several different things. It can be affected by caffeine, nicotine, um, pharmaceuticals, and noise. So I had to acquire a new kind of life, and I went to apply for my Social Security disability benefits, and I requested a sign language interpreter because I couldn't hear. And I know what it's like to sit there, and it's a corral, and it's very noisy, and I needed an interpreter. And I have a case. I was hit. I'm physically hurt. And I was requesting a sign language interpreter, and I was denied one. They said, "Well, we don't do that here." I said, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, you do, because I used to do this for a living." And they go, "Well, we don't have any money to do that." I said, "Excuse me? Yes, you do. You're just being lazy. And obviously, people have not trained you since we left, and I'm requesting one." Well, it took forever, and I did have to file a civil lawsuit. I brought my case to the governors, and I was approved for Social Security disability. Now, I'm highlighting that because I'll let you talk, Sue, because you guys do amazing stuff with Project Die Hard. And persons in the military can get additional supplemental income for tinnitus ringing in their ears. There's other benefits out there, and we have a good team with Community Pay It Forward. Zach Clayton, who just did a fundraiser last week, we joined in, and Santa Papa John was there. He's making a list of all these different organizations. They all need to be updated. And so we're sharing as much information as we can out there to the world. Last week, I met another guy with Kurt who is becoming blind. And I said, there's the Blind to Billionaire on YouTube. And he gives a lot of information about Social Security, SSI, SSDI, food stamps updates. There's another gentleman, PhD. So I really listen to these persons. I don't listen to AI generated, which could be scams. But I'm encourage anybody that, check it out, see what's available for you, new programs with insurances, all that out there. So that's kind of how the story is. I'm real excited that we finished Cool Acts of Kindness, that Suzanne has been so kind to help continue it. We have permission by Lucy Lynch and the Perfect Wave to use their music. Now, Lucy and her husband relocated to Germany. After the pandemic, Suzanne relocated to Ajijic, Mexico, where the Unity Church of Namaste is there, where we all met at the Unity Church of Hawaii. My deaf friend Scott, right before the pandemic, said, "I'm going to move to San Diego." And he went to go work with his other deaf friends that worked at the post office. So a lot of deaf people work at the post office too and get benefits. So I'm kind of curious about the Fairness Act for these long deaf employees, what kind of additional benefits they may be getting with the Fairness Act. And during the pandemic, I'm so proud of him. What an honor it was to sign for him for 10 years and to have fun, to so go out and play and to be passionate about the ocean and the dolphins and cleanup. And he became a veterinary assistant. So he's now located in San Diego. He does help with seniors or whatever type of work. He's a healer, energy healer. And what a journey. I went to Hawaii to visit. I stayed. Look what I did. Or what I got to do, what I'm passionate about. So I'll kind of quick wrap this up. So Suzanne told me about Awesome Foundation grant where she won $1,000 for Thrift Store the Musical in Honolulu. And I applied and we were trying to get funding. And then I said, "Oh, I'm going to apply one more time. I'm in Mexico. It's extremely hot during the summer. I'm in air conditioning." And I just started applying and I uploaded these new coloring books that we designed. And that took a lot of work too. And thank you, Suzanne. I mean, I don't want to say I wanted to give up, but I was just like, we got a whole series in a package here now. And I won the Awesome Foundation Grant Award in Honolulu, Hawaii in July. I applied. It took me 15 minutes. I won that month. Oh my God, tears of joy. And so the idea was I got the $1,000 through PayPal. I sent Sue Roscoff $500 to hire who? Mr. Jay Stoyan of the Disability Channel in Toronto, where he hires on additional people with disabilities. He's a big advocate of veterans, and he has 32 million subscribers. And he just was working with the Invictus game up in Vancouver, Canada, with Prince Harry. Now, I went to Vancouver because my neighbors flew me up to house sit and take care of her husband with dementia while she went to Croatia. And I said, I want to go meet some of the interpreters there, the deaf schools. Suzanne, Leon, and I and Scott had 2 hour meeting of really finishing this book for Clean Water Foundation and Clarity and the characters. And it features again on the Hawaiian Islands at a spring break camp. And Scott was in tears of joy. He gets so emotional with animals and the planet. And it's completed. And I did go over to the Coquitlam Library. I met a sign language interpreter there. I met a couple other deaf people, cochlear implants. I got to show the books. And she bought a book, Pono the Hawaiian Polo Pony. And I said, this isn't really quite done yet, but we'll get them to you. The librarian said, this is going to be amazing. You're going to do very well. And I said, I know, we need to get the good news out there. And then I contacted a friend of ours who is a makeup artist that I met, and she happens to be the Canadian Goose, a friend of Harry the Hard of Hearing Rabbit. And she's a makeup artist because she was a makeup artist on the movie sets. I was on some of the movie sets. I was an interpreter there. And she told me that she won the Emmy for Shogun on Netflix. And I got to celebrate with her and I gave her a copy of the book. We did a photo shoot. And her friend, colleague with her, said his sister was a sign language interpreter up there in Canada. I said, how cool is that? So we're getting all this together so that we could get it to her and through my intellectual property attorney, Dr. Liddy, and hopefully maybe Catherine, another attorney and a literary agent, we can pitch this to Netflix. How cool would that be? That's the vision. We have the characters. We have Liam McLaughlin that's going to be partnering with Island Earth to open up these 5 to 25,000 juice, coffee, water, tea bars with a percentage going to Clean Water Foundation. They're going to bundle the books, the coloring books, and the puppets. So we're waiting to hear from approval from him. So the universe has provided. And you know what? No one has done anything like at Walmart or Party City a birthday supply line for persons with disabilities. So now these folk Manus puppets, you can put your hands in. They're so cute. They're plush. They're adorable. There's mini ones. There's large ones. There's stage puppets. They're just a great, great collection, and they've been around for years. And I have permission to use them. So I'm very excited that we will be going through a lot of this stuff to make that happen. And so I'll quick finally show this up. So Leon was in Hawaii in October. I was in Vancouver. So we Zoomed through Emily and Kurt, and we gifted the Hawaii School for the Deaf and Blind a water unit value of $150 and Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully books and coloring books for the elementary children. The assistant principal was there. They had a fill-in principal, and we had a sign language interpreter there. And we have that on video, and we can share that later. And Leanne can share the story of actually physically being there, doing a presentation with a sign language interpreter, with the deaf children, watching their eyes. And I made them sign to him the word water so he could learn some basic sign language skills. Because everybody goes, oh, I know this, I know that, but you got to be fluent. And so we're giving that on the YouTube channel too, to learn the basics, 26 letters of the alphabet. We're born into this world in diapers. Our basic needs are I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, change my diaper, mommy and daddy. We may be in a VA hospital saying that to a nurse. So this is a circle of life that we are bringing the Acts of Kindness series to into the world. So thank you for letting me give that longer story there. I'm sure you're learning more and more, Sue, but I met this amazing woman yesterday on the Unicorn Universe who Kurt Roskoff introduced me to. And Dave Walser, I had a one-on-one with him. He was so passionate. He was in the military, lost some of his hearing, He actually read the books on his way to Europe, loves it. We have a meeting on Thursday to follow up with a couple other grants, such as the Pollination Project, because we want to multiply these acts of kindness to other schools. And Nigeria Library would be another one. My girlfriend Carla, she was a VA nurse in Tucson. She's a sailor I met down here. She calls me, my stepsister is deaf, and she works at the Tucson School for the Deaf. I called them right away, sent a press release, and she is a teacher for the low impact blind section. I talked with them, found out about the two locations. There's a Phoenix day school, and then there's the Tucson on campus with 150 students, residents. So we're going to multiply this press release out there. And as part of my legacy, the Acts of Kindness series, it will be an entrust with Leon and my deaf friend Scott to continue this acts of kindness that all the schools in the United States get copies of the books. And again, all classroom teachers can request copies of the books in the United States with a teacher ID. And 2 years ago, Subaru Hawaii gave $25,000 to teachers in Hawaii requesting products for their classrooms. 5 years ago, Good Morning America raised millions of dollars for Donors Choose. So we can make this all happen. And I think I've shared a lot of the good stuff that's happening. And give me a break here. And Julian, if you'd like to come in, give your thoughts, tell us who you are. Thank you so much for being a sign language interpreter too. Sign language interpreters are in need. They need rest. It's a tough job. You go to school, you get educated. There's certain classes you have to take. There's certain classes in the legal field, the medical field, qualifications, just like a nurse. You got to be there because a lot of the family members just think that they can speak for the deaf person when they're really not getting the full communication. Or like I was after being a case manager, blown off at the Department of Social Services in Michigan for requesting a sign language interpreter. So take it away, Julian.
Well, I want to start off with saying my in sign language and interpreting skills are 40 some odd years in the past. So I was not a certified interpreter, but I was being trained to be one through the college, El Camino College in Southern California. They had an interpreting class, and the teacher's wife was involved in, I think it was the Love Boat at a she was a dancer, a deaf dancer. And on that series, and so I was actually introduced to wanting to be an interpreter or get into that world because my boyfriend at that time, I was only 15 years old, but I was a junior in high school at 15. And he ended up, he was intoxicated, and he was in a car accident and rolled down Palos Verdes Peninsula. And he was not driving, he was the passenger in his own car, but somebody else at the party took the keys and drove his car, and also intoxicated. And he ended up with a trach and was in UCLA Medical Center for a month. And it was about the same time as John Wayne was passing. So it's so many years ago. And I had just gotten my license to drive. So I'm driving the LA freeway, going to UCLA Medical Center. He ended up with a trach for 6 months. And a mutual friend of ours would drive me, since I wasn't old enough I didn't have my license yet, just a permit. We drove down to UCLA Medical Center, and he was hard of hearing. And so that kind of said, okay, this is a need, he can hear, but we need to be able to communicate somehow. So I signed up for college while I was a senior in high school at 16 years old. And I took those classes for 2 years, And then I was able to interpret for a young person. It was 3 years younger than myself, and she was hard of hearing as well. And I was able to do minor interpreting, at the church for her. And I got her first TTY, or a little phone system where she could read the text. And so that's how I got involved with that. And then I got married at 18, and my husband wasn't willing to have me shared with the deaf community. It is very taxing, extremely taxing. And our mutual friend became an interpreter, and I pretty much haven't done any interpreting since, I was about 18. But I enjoy the world. I understand the world. And it is wonderful community. And on the business sense side of things, I am a grant writer, not so much a writer of the grants as I'm an orchestrator of the grants, gathering the materials for a proper submission. And we're through Arizona Business Incubator, we're offering classes online through the Better Business Bureau location on March 12th, March 19th, March 26th. They are free classes supported by Shirlene Enterprises, a for-profit that is supporting the nonprofit Arizona Business Incubator, to present classes free of charge to the community on what you need to prepare to be grant ready, for profits and nonprofits alike. We work with a number of social impact issues, world preservation of, the water preservation. I'm familiar with water systems for pure water on a larger scale. And there's so many grants that are needed to be written that I'm putting together grant teams in every different social impact area, such as water preservation, the environment, veterans. Carol Farabee is a veteran. We're working for veterans housing. So just about any subject that grants are submitted or petitioned for, it's in our wheelhouse. We are not limited on the subject matter. It's the preparation of that physical item that we are working with nonprofits. Domestic violence is Carol's pet one. Food sustainability is my love and passion, is trying to get that situated, and working with the indigenous tribes on water facilities and energy are the top focuses that I am passionate about. Food, energy, and food. Food, energy, and water. And those are the three main ones that I'm trying to work with the indigenous tribes right now. There's such transitional things happening over the last 2 or 3 weeks with the new administration coming in, that they have put a temporary assessment halt on federal grants. But it is temporary. It is not permanent. And there's still 2 other avenues of funding for nonprofits, and one of them being philanthropists and foundations. And we have 240,000 foundations in our registry that we can look through for any subject to go through. But the challenge is fishing in the ocean of grants through foundations is having the pool of people on the team to read through that grant and make sure it is approachable for that grant, because there's so many fish in the sea and you might not pull out the right one. I have a collaboration with a individual that can assess the project along with the grant and tell you the percentage of the match. So it makes it a lot easier to pick the best ones out of the pot. And it'll say like 85% match or 50% match. And so you throw the ones that are lower back into the pool and don't waste your time on that. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No, I'm listening, and I'm so glad that we're recording this so that we can multiply this acts of kindness as well, not only to Leanne McLaughlin with Clean Water Foundation, who is working with the Hopi Navajo. And as you can see, I have a World Water Day flyer up here I just created, and we're ready to launch Cool Acts of Kindness. And it's about the Hawaiian children at a spring break camp. And they meet the puppet characters and learn the in-depth of the history of water, especially with Dr. Emoto. And the children select the Hopi Navajo Reservation Star School to gift a water unit to, just like we gifted through the Awesome Foundation, Grant Foundation. So this is just totally paralleling everything that we are doing. And you're the grant writer to help us out, to oversee this, to know all the details. And my writer, Suzanne Sims, I said, can you help me fill out this bee pollination project? I already sent them the press release and they're interested, and it doesn't look that hard to do. She's like, no, I think you need to get a grant writer. And I'm like, well, there's AI now. I think we can just apply,
No,
but this is
no.
more in depth and more powerful. And I believe the universe put us all together here, and which can roll over to Sue. If you want to talk about the project Die Hard, the veterans, and the Master Connector. I know people I met yesterday too want to meet the Master Connector in Los Angeles, helping veterans and pay it forward. Tell us about those programs so that she can have an idea to think about too, of all these different ways that we can bring the acts of kindness and find grant funding for veterans.
Yeah, because I'm an ambassador actually with Project Die Hard, and that is an organization that is making a difference in the world of veteran suicide. So that's something that we currently have a location that is being remodeled yet. Where the big vision is on this first property. There's 20 acres and a 10,000 square foot building that was donated to the organization. And the priority right now is to go ahead and get the building completed, where it can be housing up to 12 veterans and plus 2 with families for a night, for a week, for up to a year, to help them get on their feet. And actually, because that transition from being active duty to being a civilian again is not hard, or it's not easy. It's a hard thing. They often don't get enough guidance on, what, okay, I'm back, now what? And with the different challenges that come their way, the supports that they may need is what we're working on to get those partnerships in place, and resource partners and facility partners, all the things that can be of service to our servicemen and women as they are coming back. And realistically, it's not just when they get back. That tends to be a point in time where we see there being a very pertinent piece that we can help with. But really, any veteran that at any point is finding a need, that's what we're here for. So with that, there's so many pieces that go into that possibly. So that's one piece that we have going on. The actual physical location of that first property is in Makanda, Illinois. The founder and president of the organization is in Paducah, Kentucky. and it's near-ish to where he lives. And there's a lot that's this coming year is going to be huge. We actually have a big event this summer called Hope Stock. It's going to be a weekend, the very last weekend in July, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to be on location at the McKenna, Illinois spot there. It's called, actually the property is FOB Rush. So it's a forward operating base Rush. Rush is the last name of a servicewoman who lost the battle to suicide, and she's going to forever be remembered because this location is there, and there's information on the wall in the building so that everybody understands, and that memorial is there. And that's where the long-term goal is, to have a facility like this all across the country in every state, because the need is there. The statistic right now is 22 veterans per day on average are losing their life to suicide, but realistically, the number is a lot higher than that. It truly
they just got the numbers in. It's double.
Yeah. Yes.
It doubled in 1 year.
Yeah. It has from what I've been told, it has a lot to do with how the numbers are gathered, basically. And was that overdose actually? Was it suicide related veteran issue, or is it just being counted as an overdose? It's how the classifications end up happening that makes, you're absolutely right. And it's actually, it's one of those things that's hard to talk about, because I'm not happy to hear about a number like that, but I'm happy to hear that the number is being recognized, that problem is twice as big as anybody even is understanding. So at least I'm glad to hear you say that's something that you've come across as far as how the numbers are shaping up these days, because it's awful to understand too that the veteran population is, last I was told, is around 6.5-7% of our population is veterans, and more than half of the suicides that take place on a daily basis are veterans. So if you think about that, kind of a lopsided number, that we're at less than 7% of the population being veteran, but more than half of the suicides across the country are veterans, that there's a problem. And that's one that's, go ahead.
I just had a discussion last week about mental health and the suicide situation, and the counselors that were leading the discussion, and I have found this to be true, my testimonial on it is, it all boils down to loneliness and a disconnect, first of all. And then the second, the indicators that a suicide is more likely to happen is if there's alcohol in the home and a firearm. So those are the two, according to my nephew, who is a veteran, and Carol, and my experience, that getting a reconnect, a smile, a word, their name written down on a piece of paper. And I was feeding the homeless. There's a busload of people that don't have a place to live, and there's an organization that takes them to different facilities, a church facility or a school or whatever, and they'll stay there a night or two at one place. They don't have a one location. And I fed them, and I was thinking of the food. And most of them don't have, some of them don't have teeth because they are incarcerated and they don't get tooth care. They get the teeth pulled. So most of them don't have teeth on some, and so I had to have that as part of the considerations of that. But I was thinking, what can I do to, engage them, that I know who they are on an individual basis? And I was thinking, get the piece of paper, the wax paper, and do a potato, either a potato bar, or I was thinking a burrito bar. So I would write their name on the outside of the paper, put it face down, so I knew what their name is, and then they would make their burrito, and then we'd fold up the paper and it would have their name on it at the end, and that they, and you put a heart. It was Valentine's, weekend, that type of thing. But just thinking of the connection issues is so important. That I belong to a prayer group where in the morning they pray for an hour every morning, and my name is mentioned sometimes. That means a lot.
Mhm.
Either a church community, a school community. I signed my kids up with lacrosse, not because I knew they would be good. Some of them were good, good, but some of them were challenged, on the spectrum, and we didn't know, not diagnosed on the spectrum. And you do some things that were neurodivergent at times, and I said, I didn't sign you up to be good. I signed you up for relationships. And my testimonial is this life is all about three things: relationship with yourself, relationship with others, and relationship with your higher power, God. And that's what this life is all about. And if we can help somebody else on that journey, the relationship is the key to giving hope. And everyone that is on this planet that is breathing is a survivor of their prior experience and their training. And we can go from there and help everybody else on their journey. And so that's my take on it. And if I can help in any way in grants or just relationships, that's what I'm all about. And I'm going to put a plug in for the Unicorns, Michael Gray and his group with Marianne. And he's kind of like a brother to me. I've known him for 4 years, doing disruptive technologies, and water preservation is definitely along that line with different ways of cleaning water on a small scale and a big scale. And I'm glad that you were able to start off with the indigenous in your groups. I'm also working with the Apache Nations, and the Navajo Nation. So if you have I'm wanting to hear about the water filter system that you have. I'm working with deuterium depleted water, which is basically the same water that you would find at the Alaskan glaciers. It's the purest water. It brings it down to, it's energized water that has no extra gunk in it. And we can take any water on the planet and turn it into pure water again, electrified. And it raises fruits and vegetables about 30% faster and better. And so if that can do that for plants, it is also helpful for the body. And I want to leave with that. Thank you for inviting me, Marianne.
I am so glad that you have joined us here today. I definitely, if people want to get in touch with you, do you have perhaps a website, or what's the best way for people to connect if they have questions?
I put it in the chat if you saw that in there, but my name is Juleene, Juleene, at spell out Arizona, spell out business, and spell out incubator.org. It's a nonprofit. And we will guide you as a mentor on to becoming grant ready. And I can also give you my phone number. It's 480-375-0035. I'm in the Arizona, Phoenix, Chandler, Gilbert area. And you can, I answer my phone most of the time. I'm a phone person. I worked on the phones for 16 years in banking and in moving companies. So I prefer phone to texting. I'm old school, but it's the way I am.
Very good. Oh, this has been lovely. I'm so glad that I chose to come on here and talk to us here today. And I've got more questions. I think we should be connecting even beyond this. And I would love to see what where we can go with that conversation with the veterans as well, because we do a podcast on Monday nights as well. It's called Project Die Hard Mission Monday Update, and that I host that. We usually have our founder and president joining us as well, Brian Gibson, and he's the one that gives the updates, all the things that have happened this past week, and then we do our best to have a guest or two on with us where we can talk about veteran issues, or what people can offer, whatever it may be. It's a variety, but that's something I should connect with you further and see if this might be something that we
just
could
text me the link, and I'll forward it over to Carol as well. And for myself, I will definitely give a big attempt to be there on Monday night.
Well, you're more than
Actually, I
welcome
believe
to stay over for the other hour of the power. And Leon should be joining us the latter part. I know he's working on, getting these water units, and he's working with the Kona Coffee. He's doing a fundraiser in Waikiki in November. And we are being recognized by the United Nations, Sue. He sent me an application. So what an honor to promote this book, Cool Acts of Kindness. World Water Day is March 22nd, 2025. We're going to offer not only one, but two ebook downloads of our launching of Cool Acts of Kindness. We have Waterflow the Whale, who happens to be deaf. And it's a great short story. And the children of Hawaii at the spring break can't designate a water unit to the Hopi Navajo Reservation Star School. And it's a beautiful story. And we're going to get that out there. So, and so World Water Day and United Nations. We met another gentleman yesterday on the Unicorn Universe, another key speaker that I'm going to be talking with. It's just another organization that happens on Fridays. And wow, some amazing speakers and poetry speakers and Toastmaster award winners are in there. They seem like a really, really good community. And I did meet with Michael Gray too. What Michael Gray did like 14 years ago, created an animation called Andy's Airplane. So way back when, he also worked with Sesame Street. So I got to share my story with him. And he dedicates Fridays to his sister with Down syndrome. And he gave me some good contacts, and I've been uploading. I said, just be patient. I got really good material rolling out. And I don't know if you can roll any of that out, Sue, from where you are. In regards to the soundtrack or the new book video or the Hawaii School for the Deaf and Blind. We all have that on file, but this has been a great opportunity because this is being recorded. We're getting the word out, and we always know there's one person that's going to benefit from this. And look at how we're going to benefit. We want to get you to meet the Master Connector and be on his podcast on Wednesdays. Sue, do you know what time that happens on Wednesday mornings? Is that 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, California?
yes.
And we have Zach Clayton. You want to talk about Zach Clayton and his fundraiser? Not only one Christmas miracle for families, he did 72 hours live. We recorded videos that week so that he could play them And Santa Papa John may be joining us too. And he's a big supporter of veterans. He's up there in, I believe, North Dakota. And,
Minnesota.
and he actually showcased the Acts of Kindness series books and Folk Manus. Elaine Colas, the sales manager, gifts certain organizations or me the puppets and sent him Sea Turtle, the General of the New Earth Army, and the Big Horse. And he got the coloring book. So he was on TikTok doing story time. Now he got approved too to be Santa approved from a federal trademark as well. So what an honor to have him out speaking on TikTok, showcasing the books. Just a great unity with all the people. EC Marketing, Christian Mendez helped me upload the videos, the new clicks to the YouTube channel, to the Apple App Games. Trevor Gibbs did the ADA to make sure the books were and the website are compliant for readability. If not, business owners can receive a $75,000 fine. Again, if you're not ADA compliant on your business websites or anything else. And he also helped me upload the YouTube videos. So I couldn't have done all this creativity by myself, even though Kurt Roskoff designated me just 2 weeks ago as I'm the creative director. I do have a creative mind, and I couldn't do it without my Fiverr graphic teams. And to explain to them that the hand position goes here in sign language. They got to be facing this way. They got to be able to read the mouth. And so what a great team of people that do join us. And we have Robert too with Treasure Island. He said he couldn't join us today. Derek Empanadas, he's in Arizona. Now he's an accountant. He also works at a school, a gifted school, and he does have Noah the Hard of Hearing Whale puppets. And he's was joining us yesterday. And when we got to the introduction, he had to leave within that first half hour as well. But he made a picture on LinkedIn, and I took a picture of it, of what type of style accountant he is. And there was a horse, and then there was a difference what type of tax accountant he is, and it was a unicorn. And I had to laugh because I had to send it to the unicorn people. I have a picture of him on his LinkedIn of all the business stuff that he's doing in Arizona as well. And I'm excited because Trevor Gibbs has helped me to keep organized with all these expenses of using those grants and to details, and to have 4 expense accounts over the last 4 years during the pandemic. I'm excited to meet with Derek to see what we can do to write taxes off for the Acts of Kindness series. As a person with disabilities and a low income and not making a profit. And so he says there's things that can be happening. So I'm really excited to see what we can do. And we have an appointment on March 10th. So if people need a tax accountant person, Derek is the man. And he actually told us too, I learned that he is able to walk, but through genetics, a wheelchair is really what his way to get around. And while we know new technology is coming out, so there may be new wheelchairs, and we have Denise Vargas too as well. So you want to talk about your works with Miss Denise Vargas and the radio show on Milwaukee Ability MKE now every Wednesday, and some of the guests. We just had Catherine, and who is another universe person that shows up, and she's an attorney. She's a literary agent. The universe is just putting everybody, all these new people into my lap. That's because of you, Sue. How do you meet these other people for your radio show, Sue? How do you do that?
Well, I've got this inside guy. His name is Kurt. he's networking all the time. He's attending different meetings with Alignable, with Happy Neighborhood Project, with every direction he can go. He is meeting people and bringing them to us. It's amazing because I think we are booked out right now all the way through March and all the way through April for Ability MKE now, with because that is a live radio show and with River West Radio in just north of Milwaukee. And we are live on there at 7:30 p.m. Central every Wednesday night. And we also are live streaming out to our YouTube channel. Actually, same place where this is right now. That's at Ability Network. So YouTube channel is called at Ability Network. So if you search that up, that you go on there, subscribe. we're doing our best to get the word out about all these great things that are happening. Because you're right, the people that we've met, it's incredible. There's so much in the works right now that Kurt has his fingers in the middle of. I hear bits and pieces, and every once in a while, I get the pleasure of getting to meet the folks basically one-on-one like this, uh, live, as we've got such good news to share. So I'm grateful that you brought the guest here today for this, because she's going to be, I think, a really key person potentially here with a lot of the different things that we've got going on, because she touches a lot of a lot of pieces that we are already touching, and I think I can see and sense a lot of synergy that's going to be coming down the road here real soon. So grateful for that, and yeah, the chance to get to meet all these wonderful people. There's no limit to what can happen. It's just a matter of setting some goals and reaching forward and thinking a little bit outside of, not having the blinders on. It's like, wait a second, this person can do this. Maybe we got to look a little closer here and see how that all connects together. And even today, like, I'm actually at an event. I'm in the car because we are at an event. My family's in the event right now. There's a meat raffle happening. So I'm with Pewaukee Lake Water Ski Club. I've got one of our shirts on here. Our ski club always is looking for ways to raise money to help pay for all the things that we do. We are a community-based organization, a 501c3 group, and we do ski shows all summer. We actually, like this logo here where it's got a pyramid of people, we do that. And so we bring a fun piece to the area here where we do ski shows all summer, but we also help the community in many, many ways, including doing adaptive water skiing. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even have the World of Ability podcast. We wouldn't have what we do at all. It really all started with water skiing. So they're actually actively doing an event right now. And actually that's where I'm at. I'm curious if you would be willing to talk more on here. And I'm actually thinking if I can just go to the background for a bit, I really should go back in and see what's all happening. And perhaps I can even do a little bit of live in there, but it's kind of loud, so I'm not sure if it'll work. But just to touch base on what's all still happening at this event. If nobody else is coming on here, we could always shut down for now, and I can get this started back up again once Leon gets here. And if anybody else does pop in, can I turn it over to you for the moment, though, and we'll see what's all happening inside?
You can, or if you'd like to just take a break. I think we've covered a lot, and I'm a little
Okay.
exhausted too. And this is a great show that this is enough for everybody to listen to get it to Zach Clayton, to get it to the Master Connector, to get it to Santa Papa John, and for Leon to listen to. So we know that they're not here in spirit right now, but we can still go out and play. And the attitude of yes, I can. And Sue, I'm going to highlight again, the Awesome Foundation grant gives out $1,000 a month. They have a chapter called On the Water. So I expect you and Mr. Roscoff to apply. It takes 15 minutes to apply individually for this grant by World Water Day. Can you commit to that, Sue?
Yes, we'll get that done. I've been on there. I've looked at it. I just need to get some focus time to do that. So yeah,
It took 15 minutes. It took 15 minutes. And so I just want to share too, the Parrot Heads here down in San Carlos, Mexico, they're going to have a home party on World Water Day, a concert. And they have selected that well, I guess they've acquired the funds for a water unit, a value of $150. They're making the selection of the name of the school or the orphanage down here in San Carlos, and they'll let us know when they're going to announce that. So that's our next multiplying acts of kindness. And hopefully Tucson, Arizona, School for the Deaf is next. And we got Nigeria. Nigeria Library. And we have a filmmaker, African filmmaker that we met again too through this World of Ability Happy Neighborhood Project. I've been contacting Jasper Johnson, and now we have a real grant writer. And here I was like, oh, I'm just going to do AI. No, as she said, there's a lot more things, which I understand for some of these bigger things. But it's such a nice opportunity to meet this lovely lady and the Unicorn Universe. There's many more people there, and we're doing a great part. Also, too, the Chandler Film Festival happens every January. That's out of Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. And I know Leon is going to be opening Island Earth in the Scottsdale. So how cool is that? Like all these amazing
Perfect.
unicorns coming over at the Juice Coffee Water Tea Bar, and I do a book signing, and I get to finally meet everybody. So that's in our future, and I'm just sharing that. So let's just end this and enjoy, relax, and it's a new shift, Sue. So we're ending the cycle of February. We got the planets aligned. It's time to let go of the past, the negative energy. I've been building up because of editing, and I just want to complete this, and the t-shirts and the fiber, and I feel like I'm overloading them. And I'm opening my heart today and listening to other things, the planets, to take care of yourself. Shifts is going to happen. The universe has been listening all along, because guess what? The Unicorn Universe people are the people where I need to make that next leap with
Perfect.
the series. So it's not a death card, because it's over with. Now it's a new beginning. And to make it out there to the world, I also met with Sherry with Braveheart TV, and looking forward to speaking with her on Monday and bringing a few more people involved. So end with February, on to March into 2025 and World Water Day. And so go out and play. I'm Marianne of Waikiki, and aloha.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, Marianne. You've been a true pillar of what's all going on here with World of Ability podcast on Saturdays. More grateful to you than you know. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for everything. We will go ahead and stop the live stream for now, but I will stay on here. If we have others popping in, we can always get this started back up, because typically we do run for another 45 minutes. But with this special event going on right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for the moment anyway, and see what's all happening in there and see what I can share. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
I will be available too if Leon does pop in. I do have the new flyer here below. If you can see him with the water units and Water Flow the Whale and the t-shirts and the United Nations, I'll keep this open, and we'll see what happens for the remaining part of the show to be present. Thank you.
Excellent. All
We're
right.
taking a community commercial break, so go out and play.
And that's actually what I'm doing. I am out and I'm going to play.
I jumped in the pool today. I did actually the Nest tea in front of the landlord. She's like, really? It's ice cold. I said, I have to. I made the commitment, and I need to shift this mind, body, and spirit, and elevate the vibration. So I did it, and it feels good to be back swimming.
Awesome. Oh, enjoy every minute. We will talk to you again really soon. Thank you so much, Marianne. For all of us here at the World of Ability Podcast Network,